of
This
counting.
is my impersonation of a Windows progress bar. I'll be here all week.
Literally, he'll be here all week, but he'll be at 97% the whole time.
That's right.
I just realized I just did like a little show clap, and I don't think Discord allowed that to go through.
The
We'll
world,
hear it in the recording.
the world won't see it.
Recording. You'll hear it in the recording. Man, I feel like we haven't seen the loading screen in a while.
It has been a while.
Too
That's why I
bad,
brought it back. I was like, oh, it's been a little while.
I will say it's too bad that the people watching us live won't know about, the whole rumor that just came out about Bruno Mars.
Yeah, the
Like,
rumor
I can't
come out.
believe. Yeah.
Will Bruno Mars be on the new Mars colony? That's the question
Yes.
that inquiring minds want to know.
I'll be upset if he's not. All right.
That's it.
That's legit.
I'm upset.
I'll take out the money that I have not invested in Tesla further out if they don't send him to
wow.
Mars.
Dang.
So you're going to short Tesla if Bruno
I
is
will
not
make
on
them
Mars.
pay me money
All I'll
that was
say-
never owed to me.
Cleo
All
will
I'll
charge
say-
Tesla.
Yeah.
All I'll say is that it is the most discussed in the media in the few years ago. Even it has happened in 2012. But
Hey,
some
thanks
of
for the
public
follow,
is still
Fearsome
curious.
Keg. We just got a
Hello,
new
new
follower,
follower.
Fearsome Keg,
Oh.
and in 10 minutes they can join us in the chat.
Oh wow! I didn't realize we were followers only chat, but that makes sense.
We
to
were-
keep bots out.
Yeah, we were living our
You won't
worst
be
bot
lonely
life
at followers
for a little
only.
while.
I don't know. These really nice people keep on wanting to talk to us about how we can gain more followers and subscribers, but we keep kicking them out.
Yeah, it's actually really rude of us. No wonder our channel isn't growing.
Weird.
We haven't listened to the advice from any of the gurus who have been showing up in our chat.
Yeah, randomly. They're so benevolent, those guys.
I need my character sheet.
Like, I know it's obviously like a scam, but is it like, do they even get you the followers, or is it just like they
No,
take
of
your
course
money
not.
and run?
No, it's
I
a
mean,
Or is it like bot
if they do,
followers?
it's bot followers. But I'm sure a
Yeah.
lot of them are just like give them your personal information and they
I
run
started
away.
this crazy business idea. Nobody seems to believe me. I haven't even friends who are willing to follow anyone I tell them to. All I ask is for a small amount of money.
That sounds like a very classic Family Guy quick cutaway.
That does sound
Yeah.
like that. I agree. That's funny. Anyway,
Oh,
that's the
my.
joke. That's the end of it.
Yep.
that's the stream, everybody. Have a good night.
We had to stretch
GG and
after that one.
GN.
All right, I'm taking a bite of food.
Jury nullification.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It also appears like, oh, never mind, I'm wrong.
Guys, I've got to air my disappointment about
Uh-oh.
the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection a little bit, since we're
Here it
live
comes.
on the internet.
Is it
I'm ready.
good?
No, it's not. I mean, it's the
Aw.
classic games are great, obviously.
It's so good he has to air his disappointment.
Yeah, and I even got a chance to like play a private server, some games with my like best friend from junior high, which was really fun because we used to like play the game split screen all the time. But even on a private server, we were having frame rate issues, we were having lag issues, we were having game crashing and getting booed from the server issues.
Oh no.
Like it was, and then also aiming in both of the games doesn't feel the same. Like they've changed the aim assist in a way that like feels weird on controller. It doesn't feel right. So yeah, it's too bad. I was hoping that all of the negative reviews on Steam were just indicative of like them not having enough public matchmaking servers. But I think they're indicative of more, which sucks. Or they are indicative of more.
That's cool looking.
Watch,
That
that
is
is
a
a
cool looking
really
thing that
cool
no one
looking
can
title
see.
image
Watch.
there. Yeah. We can see it.
Wait, look, I want to see it. I missed it.
This is the front sheet of my character book.
Oh, I love it.
It's
I
got
love
kind
the,
of a
like,
film noir
the-
detective look.
Yes.
It is. I posted the image in Discord before. It's supposed to be like a Japanese wood carving.
Oh, nice. That's a cool style.
I don't
I, of
remember
course,
that quote, Flash.
drew it completely by hand with no computer assistance whatsoever.
Spell attacks only work with women.
Are you still reading that Bruno Mars thing?
No, that's a Wash Brunello quote.
You went with that, yeah.
Ooh, I want to do a quote. Quote. Oh, quote bot of the lake. What quote do you have for me? It's a bop grenade. We'll call it the kids bop.
Not for kids.
I'll play. I'll do one.
This is your horoscope.
I looked down at the patch on my common clothes that I put on top of my fancy clothes. We got 3 Wash quotes and a Jake
Ooh.
quote here tonight. Wash,
Wow.
you better. The quote bot is trying to make up for the fact that Jeb was struck ill last session and couldn't speak.
It's just a
that's right, I
wash
didn't
kind
do
of
last
night.
time.
It's trying to remind us what we missed out on. It's like if only he'd been able to speak, you could have had more quotes like these.
As the French would say,
This is
I am
where
the
put my
shit.
Jake, I want to see that on a T-shirt for you.
quote. I want to see that on a set of bed sheets.
There you go.
I always have at least one can of beans on my person.
That's
Wash Brunello.
extremely accurate to Jeb, I feel like.
I think that's extremely accurate to Wash. I don't know what you're talking about.
What kind of beans, Wash?
Yeah, what kind of beans?
Kind of beans wash?
That's very important. We need to know
Yeah.
what kind of beans.
You keep on your person.
I actually like garbanzo beans.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Nice.
I like how they're. I don't know why all of our responses came off as if we were expecting like kidney beans. Get out of here!
I was expecting like a can of like Western pork and beans. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
like
You
Yeah, I
said
love
like,
me
oh,
some
that's a
baked beans.
respectable choice. Like when somebody comes out, it's like, what's your opinion on blah? And they give like a well thought and reasoned opinion. And they're like, oh.
You know what? I can respect that. I can shake your hand and we can move on.
Yeah, yeah.
there you go.
You sit down
That
at the
is a
change my mind
well-thought
table, and at the end of the conversation, the person's mind has changed, and you're like, "Well,
It's like,
can't put
Yeah,
this
you
one
know,
on
garbanzo
socials."
beans.
okay.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that the guy in the change my mind meme never had his mind changed?
Yeah.
Interest. No, yeah.
I mean, there's either two ways that plays out.
You change your mind or
it's
you
like-
don't.
It's like the whole thing where like you're watching a basketball game in the third quarter and both teams have 0 points. It either means they are both fantastic or they both suck. Really.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I think that is indicative of the concept of sitting at a table and saying "change my mind." I think it's indicative of maybe lots of people suck, and that's all right.
Hey, sometimes people just want free entertainment. And I'm just saying, if you're a stubborn person, hell, you don't even have to believe whatever you're thinking. Slap that on a table and just watch as someone gets incredibly frustrated with you that you refuse to change your mind.
And
But
that sounds like the worst thing.
Yeah.
The problem with the world, maybe. Actually,
When the Facebook trolls go outside, that's what you get. Hey, it's 8:00. It's a Monday night.
Ooh.
You want to play some D&D?
it's actually 7
Actually,
p.m.
I
Central.
was thinking about, I was talking about some jury nullification earlier.
Oh yeah,
I was
tell me
thinking
about it. Tell me about the jury nullification.
So, you
What
know,
is the
like we've been
GMT
over it a
usually?
couple of times, but it makes me wonder the amount of times I keep pandering it, if that could actually get me in trouble, right? Because, like, what if I get called and then they pull up all the VODs and they're like, hey, jury nullification keeps coming up a lot.
This has actually been a long con for Cleo to get out of all future jury duties by sharing
Oh,
all
wow.
these little snippets as a compilation. Like, you know, there's like best so-and-so moments, and then there's
Building a
Cleo's
plethora of
Cleo's
evidence. You're
report for
building
the
your-
jury committee.
I'm
Amazing.
just saying. So, of course, going on to a jury
So anyway.
with the intent.
Samir, Gronteus, Kotix, Awara. Long ago, the four ancients created a world in harmony. Then, everything changed when the chat ebbed magic. Only Kelnor, master of good vibes, could stop them, but when the world needed him most, he vanished. 2 years have passed, and 4 adventurers have discovered a conspiracy, a company selling magic. And although their roleplay is great, they have a lot of XP to earn before they're ready to save anyone. But I believe they can save the world.
Welcome to the Wing Badger Tavern, where friends tell stories. I'm joined by some of my friends. Let's meet them. Introduce yourselves, friends.
Hello, I am Jake, and I play Alan Woodrear, the Azamar Barbarian Artificer. And until this most recent playing of the intro, I forgot how good Josh's evil laugh at the end of that clip is. It's bone chilling.
Hello, I'm Cleo. I didn't hear the evil laugh, so I don't know. But I play Fox, a bard rogue changeling who is, we're going through some stuff. It's going to be a great time. And now I feel like I missed out on the laugh.
Hey, I'm Wash. I play Jebediah Peppermint, the Gunfolk Mole Wizard who... Nope, the Molefolk Gun Wizard. Wow, I skipped 1 week. Who spits fire and fire spits. And my favorite part about the intro is Jake's stash, like the Top Gun stash, and Cleo's red and blue hair. It's a great throwback.
Good throwback.
Yeah.
Hello, I am Trevor. I play Zothkug, the Orc Cleric. And my favorite part about the intro is the person who does the narration, our lovely chatter, Will-o'-the-Wisp.
She is wonderful. She's my favorite person too, probably for different reasons. Hi, I'm Josh. I'm the Wing Badger Game Master, and I play everybody else. And without further ado, let's get back into tonight's Dungeons and Dragons adventure. Whoa. As the dull of an airship outside kind of fades away, another patrol passing by, of course harmless to you at this point. You are safely ensconced in a cave. You've parted ways with Sir Topham Sav, and you are
Savage Tempest.
That's right, with Savage Tempest. Good catch. You've parted ways with Savage Tempest. It's hard because his last name and his streaming name are so similar, and I just screw them up. But yeah, weird. Savage Tempest, the ranger who escorted you here through the mountains, he got you as far as the mouth of the caves. This cave network where you are currently, you're like right near the entrance. You're so close that you can hear the airship patrols outside. This cave network, if you go deep enough, will take you to the lair of Kavor, that oldest and most noblest ancient golden dragon who you need to seek an audience with because you need permission to use some of her lair for a very important ritual. And this morning, as the airship is kind of fading away and you are packing up camp together, you're kind of on the brink of completion. You know, it's all coming to a head. I would love if we could zoom in on Zothkug. Zoth, tell us about, kind of how Zoth is feeling, what's going on in Zoth's head right now. How is Zothkug?
I think he's a little more forlorn than he usually is. It's, he came back and he was hoping for a warmer reception and welcome. And not to say that he didn't get it, but especially like with Fox being that way. Not to say that Fox is unjustified in feeling that way, but Zoth was hoping for more. So he's a little bit saddened that the connection isn't as deep as it once was. And so he's kind of reflecting on that. And then he's also very sad about the idea that the ritual will sacrifice the avatars. And so, because that was previously unknown to him. So he's processing a lot of big emotions that he didn't want to come back to the world to just yet. Like, he knew he'd get there, but he was hoping for a little bit brighter, coming back to the world.
As Zothkug kind of rolls up his bedroll, gets his pack in order, on the other side of the coals, the ashes of a former campfire keeping you warm, Jeb, you have awoken, and just as Zothkug expected, it was kind of like a 24-hour illness thing. Your breathing is kind of back to normal, maybe a little scratchy in the back of the throat, but nothing that would prevent you from adventuring as normal. Talk to us about Jeb. What's going on in his mind right now?
Jeb is, God, his mind is aflutter. I think maybe a bit of the Rod of Intelligence. Oh, sorry, the Rod of Luck. Goodness, that's a throwback. Is affecting him. This whole being able to see alternate futures and paths, and the effects of time magic and rewinding things it's all he's been doing, lying on his back trying to recover from this crud, watching the ceiling and the numbers shift back and forth on when bugs move around and whatnot, and it's just weighing heavy on his mind of the coming hours and how this is all going to pan out, and contingency upon contingency upon contingency, and how failure is not an option.
Jeb, dusting off his hat, maybe doing a little bit of last second prep with his spell book for the day, kind of getting his things in order. To Jeb's right, Fox, you're kind of getting ready for your adventure. What's Fox thinking about right now? What's kind of pushing Fox forward at the moment?
Fox is sitting there, sharpening his leg sword, right? He's got it extended, perhaps even temporarily disconnected from his leg, so he has better access to it, and he is sharpening the blade, honing it. And while he sits there doing a menial task, something that requires no effort, his mind is not really wandering, but more trying to steel itself for the coming up ahead. He sees himself now more than ever as more of a tool, an instrument, than rather a person. He feels lately, things have just been happening over and over and over, where he just has to rise up to the occasion, regardless of how it affects him or what that means. And I think he's kind of lost his sense of what needs to be done and why, and more or less just doing it to do it, right? He's been told that we need to do this great ritual, so that's what he's focused on. He's running through his head all the different, ways he might have to convince this dragon, all the different obstacles he might run into in the cave, and not really thinking about the whys anymore. And really just trying to stop his mind from wandering too much further than that, trying to hone it and sharpen it, much like the blade in front of him, for this one simple task ahead of him of simply completing a ritual that I'm sure will have no problems or wrinkles in it.
With every shing of the whetstone along the blade of Fox's sword, a little spark jumps from where Fox is kind of crouched onto the ground and very briefly illuminates the countenance of Owlin. Owlin, kind of as the leader of this band of adventurers, maybe feeling that weight of responsibility. Take us into Owlin's head. What's he thinking about right now? As maybe he's got his stuff prepped already. Maybe he had the last watch. What's next?
He actually did have the second watch. Owlin, through that watch, the thing on the forefront of his mind was the discussion that he and Fox and Zothkug had right before they went to bed and before Savage left, which was, specifically it was about, should we call in the troops, call in the reinforcements now, or should we wait until we've talked to Kavor, gotten passage, and then called in who we need to call in? And Savage had suggested that we wait. Owlin was of that opinion as well, but he wanted to give it a chance to cool off, and he kind of wanted to avoid the discussion at that time, because honestly Zothkug and Fox were starting to get a little, not heated, but they were starting to maybe get a little heated. And so as he's been considering that, in the back of his mind, he's more considering also the larger meaning of these choices that they're going to be faced with leading up until the end, because Owlin's had to make choices throughout this whole adventure, like this whole quest. And they started off being small choices. But as it's gone on, like the weight of those choices has just slowly increased until now he just feels a lot of weight to make every choice count and to make sure that they are not choices being made out of the need to rush something or the need to just make a decision, but to really carefully consider as much as they can, like the effects of these really massive choices that they're about to make, because they're at a point now where there's no return. Like they can't like make the wrong decision and then fix it. It's just whatever they choose. In this case, it's calling in the troops now or waiting. That's going to mean something.
Yeah.
So
that flare gun hanging heavy from his tool belt.
Yeah.
As you all are kind of in your own little reverie, lost in your thoughts, going through the motions almost mechanically. You've been adventuring for so long at this point that, breaking up camp is not something you have to be conscious to do. A little bit of that highway hypnosis. You sort of realize collectively as a group, like, oh, we're done. Our things are packed and we are all just kind of standing around, waiting to move. On one side of you, the golden glow of what seems like it's going to be a beautiful dawn and maybe a beautiful day out in the mountains. On the other side of you, the kind of greenish, misty, obscured darkness of the cave network ahead of you. How does the group get moving? Who is the impetus to get on the move?
Alan is gonna look at the rest of the group and kind of speak up first. He'll say, I did some thinking last night, as I'm sure you all did as well, and I don't think that it's necessary that we light the flare and call in the ship yet. I think it's worth it to wait and see how Kavor reacts to us, and then based on that, decide on when we need to call in the ship. I just don't think it's worth starting our countdown clock earlier than we have to, if that makes sense.
I agree. With that, Fox reattaches his blade to his leg and shifts it back into position. His pack already packed and shoulders it.
A little metallic click as it locks into place.
Zoth, I know that you had mentioned that it will be easier to convince Kavor if we have the avatars with us, and I agree, but I think we should at least give it a try first without them. So that way, like I said, we're not starting that countdown clock of the enemy, rushing in on us earlier than we have to.
I understand. Yeah, like I don't agree, but this is this is how the group thinks and feels, and I am willing to go along with that decision.
Wait, what decision? Sorry, I'm still catching up from I was out the other day.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I thought you maybe overheard, but I understand that you were clogged up. Your ears may not have overheard, but there was a question of whether it'd be better to call in the ship, with the avatars and the device and the rest of the rods and reinforcements now, or to wait until after we talk to Kavor and see if we have permission to go deeper into the lair, and then call them in from there. Fox and I's opinion was that it would be smarter to wait, because then we only start our, quote unquote countdown when we have to, as opposed to starting it prematurely. Zoth's argument would be they have to come here anyways, so we might as well do it now and then make the rest of the journey inward easier.
It'll also be easier to convince Kavor with the avatars.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do figure though, with these ships flying back and forth, that we're probably going to need to be at the ready. Like we're probably going to need to run interference for our ship to get here and unload safely. So I don't know if it's something that we want to pop off and then go in the cave and, you know, let them come. Like, we're probably going to want to be here when that pops off to run interference.
I agree.
So,
but I think we definitely could take the time, if we have it, without the timer ticking per se, to clear the path ahead in the caves. We can come back once we've got Kavor, at least in a amicable mindset.
amicable. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, my
but
mind's been
yeah.
elsewhere.
No, that makes sense. I wasn't saying, I was kind of actually saying against us just like popping it now and then going in and then, you know, in the interest of time, because I think at this point in the game, we don't need to risk any damage to the avatars or the device or anything like that. I'd hate to fall down right at the finish line.
All right. Well, in that case, I think we journey onward and then encounter what we encounter and plan on returning back here to call them in once we feel that we need to.
Yep.
Your
All right.
first few steps into the cave network are not necessarily dangerous. And the caves up here, just being formed, these are naturally formed caves, which means they're mostly formed by the passage of water. So they're going to be wider at the top, and then they're going to get narrower as you kind of delve deeper into the world. They're nice and spacious. They're illuminated in kind of a bioluminescent green from some different flora that maybe is kind of a hybrid species that maybe floated up here from the Underdark. Again, this being the lair of an ancient dragon at some level, you know, there's probably a connection path somewhere where little spores could have floated up or something. And so it's not like pitch black as you're walking. It's got that kind of greenish alien glow that kind of reflects almost lovingly. It's like it kind of pulses. It's very organic. It's almost cozy as you're walking through the caves. It's hard to imagine that there could be anything dangerous down here, which is kind of what leads you to, you know, the next sort of phase of your adventure. Because as you're navigating, at first there are no forks in the road. There are twists and turns. And then you find yourself kind of approaching a space where you can see that it's widening up in the future. Ahead of you, the pathway is getting a bit wider and perhaps maybe even intentionally wider, like some creature has come in and expanded the walls of the cavern naturally. You can see some kind of scratch marks in the walls. Jeb, with your innate knowledge of, you know, tunnel digging and having been around the dirt folk civilizations, you recognize the application of crude tools. So like it might have been meant to be a shovel, but it was probably shaped from like a random stone and they kind of just chiseled it out until it was sort of shovelly and then used that. And, you know, so they're kind of cruder tools that have been used. You hear the crackle of a fire a little ways in the distance at about the same time that you start to see debris on the ground. You find yourself stepping over broken bits of wood and what looks like maybe sailcloth or canvas, kind of shreds and tears. Fox has a hand up. Yes?
Once we realize there's other people in this cavern potentially, I think Fox is going to put his hand up and try to tap people on the shoulder in front of him to get their attention. And I'm going to go ahead and just roll a perception check and see if I can't figure out if this appears to be potentially, you know, those darn mercenaries.
Sure.
You constantly find yourself against.
You mean the private security goons, TM?
Yes.
While Fox is doing this, do these marks indicate that this has been widened? Like, are the marks mostly on the side instead of the floor and the ceiling?
They are walls and ceiling. So it seems like something maybe it's almost like you just scaled up the tunnel a bit.
Okay.
So I think I'm gonna go ahead. I got a 16.
Okay.
What do I see with a 16?
With a 16, it's you don't have a huge amount of visibility. The light here is so like soft and dim, you know, like the flora. So you only have kind of like 60 feet of vision. You can't see that far ahead of you. However, your hearing is very acute as a rogue and as a bard. You're, you know, very in tune with sound. And around maybe a corner or a bend in the cave ahead of you, you hear just some kind of like a grunting, almost bestial. It's like miscellaneous activity. Like it sounds like there are maybe some creatures talking to each other. And they seem to be holding a conversation, although it's in a language you don't speak. It's just kind of like grunts and shuffles. Every now and then you hear something bang, kind of scrape against the wall or toss down. So you get the impression that there are 3 or 4 of the creatures, maybe. It's hard to be totally sure because, you know, conversation echoes in the caves. But there are 3 or 4 creatures, and they're not acting like coordinated soldiers. They're behaving more like, you know, beasts or monsters or something that have kind of a loose association with each other.
Can Alan hear the voices? And if so, with comprehend languages, can he understand them?
Alan cannot hear them at this stage. They're a little too far away.
I will go back to the group.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I think there's, I don't know, these bestial sounds. I think they're communicating, so I think they have some sort of level of intelligence. I know, Alan, you have a good job of maybe hearing this and understanding it. So maybe here, I'm going to try to lead you a little closer, but
okay.
I really don't want to interact with these things or people or whatever they are until we know for sure what we're doing.
I'll do my best to be quiet.
All right, I'm gonna try to use a stealth check here to and lead Alan here to a place where I think he will be able to hear them or see them if we can find such a convenient.
Alan
spot.
just not 20'd his stealth, so
Nice.
And I dropped mine on the floor.
It's so stealthy, Cleo doesn't even know the roll.
Good omens.
All right, back on the table.
The dice won the roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
So, 31.
31. Fox is really good at this, and Owlin, you're not as well practiced at rogue things, but sneaking through like caves and stuff, that's kind of soldier territory. And so you're able to kind of it's almost like, well, I'm just going to do exactly what Fox does. And you you step exactly where Fox steps, and you kind of manage, the different inventory that's kind of, a lot of your stuff hangs from your tool belt. And so for you, the biggest obstacle to stealth is like your tools clacking together. And so it's just a lot of kind of managing your weight displacement and things like that. You get yourselves right up to the bend, so you're kind of nestled into one of the natural divots in the rock before it would go around the turn. You're so close at this point that the warm light of their flickering fire is kind of meshing with that subtle bioluminescent green glow, and so it kind of casts these weird shadows on yours and Fox's faces as you kind of look at each other. And as you listen to these creatures talking, they begin to resolve into language. It's not a real language, or at least it's not a civilized language. It's like these creatures have found a way to communicate with each other. But whatever they are, you get the sense that there are definitely 4 of them, and one of their party, Genle, is sick, and the other 3 are trying to tend to the ill creature. You can hear a lot of frustration about those stupid small folk from the sky who drove them from their home in the mountains. It seems like Genle was maybe struck ill during this kind of attack that drove them out of whatever their normal domain or, their area that they lived in was. And they've had to take refuge here in the cave. And there's a little bit of an argument about whether they can trust the creatures deeper in the cave to help, or whether they'd get driven back out of the caves again and they'd just be back where they started. And that's kind of what they're arguing about with that grunting back and forth. It also sounds like, Fox, to you from this close, you're getting a little bit more clarity of sound. You can definitely hear meat sizzling. It's like they're cooking something over a fire. So you could assume reasonably from that their backs are probably towards you and they're facing the fire that they're cooking at, or at least some of them are.
Can you make out what they're saying?
Yes. One of them is either injured or sick. There are 4 of them, and the other 3 are
attempting to help the injured or sick one, but they are not medically experienced, and they seem to be natives of these mountains that have been driven in the cave by the private security goons. And they are wondering whether the inhabitants deeper into the cave, which I would assume to be Gafor and her I don't know, allies, I guess. What they're wondering whether they will help them or simply drive them out. I think if we explain to Jeb and Zoth that this is the predicament that they're in, we could approach cautiously, but show that we are not a threat, and perhaps see if we can lend aid to the sick or injured member of their party. I believe that they're not a threat.
So we don't kill everything in front of us.
Your whispering was so soft that I didn't catch the beginning of that. What'd you say?
For once, I think it would be nice if we didn't kill everything in front of us. So
yeah, yes, I agree.
I agree.
Okay, we'll go back, explain this to Jeb and Zoth, and then approach showing that we are not a threat.
I guess we sneak back.
Yep.
To our other two allies.
Easy peasy.
Hey, Zoth.
Yeah, man.
Actually, Alan, you're better. You were the one who heard it firsthand. You go ahead.
We believe that these creatures further ahead in the cave, there are 4 of them, and they seem to be natives of these mountains, and that they were driven into this cave by the private security goons. One of them appears to be sick or injured, and the other 3 are trying to tend to it, but they aren't medically experienced. I believe that they don't pose a threat to us, and we should approach, slowly, showing that we are not a threat. And Zoth, if you were so inclined, I think you might be able to help whatever is ailing the one of them that is hurt.
So, just to confirm, Alan, we might be able to understand them, but we can't speak whatever language that is, I'm guessing.
That is correct. I could only gather like general concepts. It doesn't seem to, or the rod didn't make it seem to me like they were speaking a formal language. It was more of a primitive is the wrong word, but a more informal way of communication that is not widespread.
Okay, I think this is how we go about this, all right? Most things might be a little hesitant to accept charity and are more amicable to receiving a trade instead. That seems more trustworthy. I think we pantomime. I'll pretend to be sick, obviously maybe not showing up as such, but act out being sick. And then Zoth maybe cast a low-level healing spell just to see that you can do magic, but something that shows healing. And then we point to the sick party member, and we can point to the food and point back to us, kind of showing that we'll trade a little bit of food for healing their friend, just to gain their trust.
I can cast a spell that would let us communicate directly with them.
Oh, well, then that's much easier.
Yes, that's okay. How about you take the lead on this? Just remember, they're gonna probably trust a trade of some sort rather than charity. But
You think they are semi-intelligent beings, at least?
Yes, I believe they are. It's just that they use a language that is not widespread.
I would also keep in mind they're probably, if they are bestial, maybe just be careful. Who knows? They might distrust fancy talk, right? Be very clear and direct.
Is that it's a telepathic link that allows us to communicate, and so voices in your head suddenly are not seen as
Okay. Then maybe we stick to the pantomime and resort to that if that fails.
I think that there's a compromise. I think that we could show ourselves visually first and make sure that the voices in the head are not the first thing that they encounter, and then follow that up with the voices in their head.
Because I could connect 8 creatures.
Yes, and that's the perfect amount. So I think that is what we want to do. Personally, I think we start with visually showing, and then telepathically, and having Zoth start the communication, because Zoth is much more, I would say, approachable and soft-spoken. I think.
All right, everybody sheath your obvious weapons, and I think maybe get ready to unbuckle them. Maybe lay them down, show we mean no harm.
How does this sound to you, Jeb? I noticed you haven't voiced anything.
Who's doing the talking?
Zoth.
Okay. Come here, big guy.
What is it, Jeb?
And I'm just going to point my blunderbuss like right on his nose, almost like a big honk honk horn. And there's a poof of like dust that like, sorry, I should have said close your mouth. And I am casting enhance ability on you.
Nice.
I am giving you Eagle's Splendor for improved charisma checks.
Okay. How much improvement?
Enough that you might feel advantageous in any of your charisma-based situations
Alrighty.
for the next hour. So, and it looks good on you. It's got a little bit of a glitter.
Yeah, if only I had my hat.
There we go.
I almost forgot about that thing.
Who could? Sorry, we need to keep it down. Who could forget about that thing?
It is hard to forget. I agree. Well,
It was literally the fifth guy.
this is true.
Alrighty.
Let's
Let
do
us
it.
embark.
Right. Okay. I guess we continue with Zoth leading the way.
All right.
Yep.
Zoth leads the way as you come around the corner. Did you decide you are going to lead with telepathy, or are you going to lead with like pantomiming?
Lead with
Lead with
them seeing
pantomiming.
us, and then follow up with telepathy.
Great. So as you walk around the corner, that the flickering light of the fire kind of illuminating everything a little bit more warmly, a little bit more consistently, you are hit with the smell of sizzling meat that has not been seasoned. It's just like, whatever wildebeest they could find for themselves in the mountains, and the smell of like something like curdled milk from these four massive creatures. They are big silhouettes wearing big furry like hide skin cloaks. They have kind of a greasy blackish green hair. They're almost bulbous faces, like very round, very large. They're taller than Owlin by a good 5 or 6 shins. And one of them is propped up against the wall facing towards you. And looks pale even in the firelight, which would normally make everything look rosy. This creature sees you first and gives like a kind of notices you, and the other 3 immediately turn around, and you see 4 ogres. They look like almost like a little war band. One of them has the bits and pieces of a howdah on its back that has been broken, probably as it tried to get into the caves. The caves were too short, and it kind of has just smashed off the little platform that a rider would use. One of them has a very weathered looking, cracks down the wood, big old, like almost like a ballista, like a huge oversized crossbow, and maybe a couple of bolts for it in a quiver, but it looks like it's mostly emptied out. One of them has a big heavy chain that's covered in rust and corrosion, and then there's the sick one along the wall. And as you approach with your hands up, as the players are pantomiming, for those of you listening at home, as you approach with your hands up, they all kind of look towards you, and then they look at each other, and there's a little bit more animated, like, and they all kind of look towards you. The one with the ballista oversized thing kind of levels it, but doesn't look like he's trying to shoot you. They're trying to ascertain your intentions, and so they just kind of stop and watch you. One of them looks towards you and just like, Owlin, you understand that he's asking, what do you want?
I'm going to cast the spell now. It is Rary's telepathic bond.
While he's doing that, Alan's gonna like unbuckle his weapons and set them on the ground.
Sure.
So I forge telepathic link up to 8 willing creatures of my choice. physically linking each creature and others for the duration. Creatures with an intelligence score of 2 or less aren't affected. Until the spell ends, the targets can communicate telepathically whether or not they have a common language. The communication is possible over any distance, though it can't extend to other planes.
Okay. You cast that spell.
And then I will say, we mean you no harm. We're just passing travelers, and I think I can offer some assistance as a cleric in healing your friend.
All three of the standing ones like look around, like, who said that? It wasn't them. Their mouths didn't move, like trying to figure out where it came from. You get the sense that these are fairly low when it comes to learned intelligence.
I was going to try to pantomime and then point at Zoth. Like get their attention and then point at Zoth to indicate that's who was speaking to you mentally.
Zoth, why don't you roll a charisma check with advantage here to see if they understand what's happening and what you're trying to do. See how well you can convey.
That would be a 24.
Oh yeah. So they eventually, it takes them a couple minutes and a little bit of pantomiming, Alan and Fox and Jeb kind of contributing until they realize. They look at back towards you, Zoth. And one of them, the one with the big rusted chain in your head, says, "Are you speaking in my mind?"
We are all connected telepathically, so we can all talk in each other's minds.
Another of the creatures says, "Those big words. Are you here to attack us? You drive us out?"
No, we're not.
We no harm anybody. We no go in. We no fight the others.
We're not here to attack.
We just Genlei sick.
No attack. Heal. We can heal.
You Genlei sick, not wound. And he mimes a slash, sick, and he coughs.
I'm a doctor. I diagnose and heal sickness too.
Magic doctor?
Heals
Magic
lives.
doctor.
This meat no work on sick. This meat no good as magic meat. Magic meat used to walk to us in our home, but we driven out. This strange lumpy fish, and as you look at what they're roasting, it's not an aboleth, just to clarify, because they're fish too. It's just some weird, lumpy fish looking thing that they, some random wild fish looking thing that they're roasting. This weird fish thing, not heal Genlei. Taste weird, dusty.
Can I come and look?
We will stay back, and only healer will approach.
Good. And the three of them kind of make a little, path for Zoth to walk through.
Okay, I will approach, and I would like to do a medicine check.
Great. You walk forward. The heat of the fire kind of warming you and Genlei, who is propped against the wall, kind of slumped a little bit. Genlei looks up at you and doesn't say anything, doesn't react. What'd you roll on that check?
29.
29. Genlei has an infected wound that none of them have noticed. You're not sure where the infection is yet, but you're like, yes, fever, chills. These are the symptoms of an infection of some kind. And as you're examining, you see that in the shoulder of Genlei, there is a little tiny arrow, which for an ogre, they probably wouldn't even have really noticed. But there's just a normal humanoid sized arrow that's been shot into the shoulder. And Genlei has been basically that cut has been infected. It's something that a lesser restoration or great or equivalent or stronger spell could cure.
Okay. Wound in where you said is in the shoulder?
Yeah, in one of his shoulders.
Arrow in shoulder, infected wound.
Shoulder wound? No wound, no sword.
I point straight to where the arrow is.
Dink. He pulls out the little arrow. You're wound is wound. You heal?
Yeah, I can heal. Yes.
Please.
Sorry, I'm looking at which healing spells I have.
Zoth
really
sits down and
awkward if
pulls
you
out
didn't
a
prep
medical
today.
diagnosis book. He's just flipping through.
Okay. Sorry.
I forgive. Take time.
Okay, I do.
While
Have,
Zoth is, go ahead.
I do have lesser, so
Okay.
I just had to see which level it was. So I will cast lesser restoration at 2nd level.
Sure. What does it look like as you do the casting?
Let me read actually. So he probably just like kind of waves his hand, maybe pulls out some like leaves and crushes them up and like kind of floats them around, and there's like a slight glow that comes from his hands, and it goes into the basically kind of goes like into the wound.
Great.
And like spreads through the body, and you see like faint glow as it just
Like through his veins almost, like it lights
Yeah.
up there. That's cool. So this kind of like little glow just like kind of like chases across his veins, and you see like the color comes back to his face, and he sits up a little bit, and he's like, I feel better, Genlei, better. And the other 3 ogres are like, better, thank you, thank. And one of them cuts off a slice of whatever the weird thing they're roasting is and holds it out to you. Like, thank.
I will take it.
You now have it. It is easily big enough to feed all 4 of you. Like for them,
nice.
a slice of a thing is pretty
Yeah.
huge.
You guys were saying there are creatures farther in the cave?
Yes, fish this way, and they point down. They point back at the fish they're roasting, and then they point down the cave, like down the exit of their cave, and then they say, "And we not know what further, but it growl at us, and we come back here. We not want trouble. With Genlei was hurt.
Big growl?
Big growl.
We seek the big growl.
You seek
we
big
actually-
growl.
We do. We want to use big growl to fight sky people.
Fight
know
sky
you-
people, and all of them
Yes.
like crack these big, ogre grins, teeth missing. Their breath is worse than the curdled milk smell that you had as you kind of came in. They're like, fight sky people. We fight sky people. Yes.
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 That is
Get
what we
back
do
to
as well.
magic meat when fight sky people. Yes. Good.
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 What is
Thank you.
magic meat?
In our home, meat come right to us. Magic meat. We stay in Glade and meat just every day. In morning, sun come up, meat walk into Glade. Easy hunt. Magic meat.
Ah. Yes.
Not like strange fish. He holds up he lifts up the whole fish, forgets it's hot. It like burns his skin a little bit. It smells the same. Like, fish strange. Have to catch.
Yes,
Not
very-
magic.
very
Not magic,
strange.
not heal Genlei.
Was ground slippery? More slippery than normal for water?
No, ground shaky.
Ground shaky.
Ground shaky, then fish. Ground shaky,
fish.
then take stick, and they pick up one of the broken pieces of how to fish, and he slams it into the cave floor, which of course here is solid stone, and just snaps the howdah in half, or the stick in half. Oh, no, spear. New spear, and he reaches back to the broken howdah on his back and just yanks off another piece of wood. Fish in tunnel. If need food, lumpy fish, fine.
Gotcha.
Thank you for information.
Good.
We
be
will.
going.
Yeah, we will continue on.
Thank. And they turn back to their fire. Oh, yes, Jeb, you have a hand up.
While this is kind of going on, Jeb's been kind of quiet and to himself. Can I investigate this fish? Do I recognize the head?
Sure. Why don't you choose survival, animal handling, or nature to investigate this fish?
Well, I'm terrible at all of those.
You didn't specialize in fish investigating?
So I'll
No.
also like turn back to the
But
group.
we'll
Like, anyone
do
have a
nature.
knife to cut this up, divvy it up?
Alan will
That's
start
a-
carving it up.
Great.
a gentleman's 14.
A gentleman's 14. Jeb, you have never
Honorable.
seen this kind of fish, at least not in this state. Size-wise, it's like larger than a pond fish and smaller than an ocean fish.
Does it have eyes?
You're not sure. At this point, they've like skinned it. You know what I mean? So it's like it's just a big fillet thing.
I gotcha. Sometimes, you know, they leave the head and like eat the body. I didn't know if the head was intact.
Well, they're not
Just
that
really curious,
uncivilized,
though.
these ogres who don't bathe or brush their teeth ever. They're
Just saying.
yeah.
Just
No,
saying.
you're right. Yeah.
Jeb's curious if this is coming up from the Underdark.
Ah.
They said that the ground shake and fish come up out from deep ground. No sea fish like this in Glade or any other lake.
No fish in glade, not in lake. Come from ground, but ground rumble, dirt spread apart, fish in ground.
Oh, ground fish.
Ground fish, lumpy ground fish, not magic.
I'm wondering if Jacob's knowledge it like leads into Alan's knowledge. Like Alan wants to say catfish, but
Does this fish have a large fin on its back?
Triangle, pointy.
Yeah, like on back, big point.
One big
back.
pointy, and then end big pointy.
Okay.
Count.
I think I know what these are, maybe.
If you piece it together from the information you've been given, Wash, Jeb can have it. Just
When
I
we
think-
fight Sky People, you help fight Sky People. Big battle. May decide Sky People live or not.
Sky people no live. Why decide?
No, like if we win, they will never come back.
Good.
You help?
Us help.
Yes.
They look at each other like, you busy? Like, we take day for Genlei to recover. We help. Where meet you?
One
You come get
second.
us?
We'll come get you.
we come get you. Yes,
Good. We stay at fire. Eat lumpy fish.
good.
Good.
Stay healthy.
All right.
Okay.
Gonna keep proceeding into the cave.
Sure.
Towards Roar.
It seemed like Jeb might want to do something.
Oh.
No, I'm just like, as we're walking away, he's just kind of thinking to himself, and guys, I think these might be land sharks, which is obviously a very crude name. It kind of, it describes what's on the tin.
Kind of like ground fish.
No, nothing. Yeah, well, I guess maybe, yeah, kind of like ground fish. But yeah, they kind of swim through the ground the same way that I kind of burrow.
Oh.
As
Have we
you're
encountered something like this in the Underdark? I forget.
as you're proceeding through the cave, the ground does begin shaking.
Oh. When there was a direction that we felt
Dexterity
these
saves.
waves moving. Oh,
I don't know what to
Is
do.
this something I can see?
No.
Oh, dang it.
18 for Zoth.
Okay.
27.
no.
6.
Okay.
17.
Everybody dives out of the way almost comically, like flattening themselves against the walls or jumping over
Helldivers dive.
as it. Yeah, exactly. Like the dolphin dive, just flings themselves out of the way so that Owlin from the back of the group, you see like the bump of stones, Bugs Bunny style, as the ground kind of pops up towards you until with this thing just leaps right out of the ground. It almost looks like a hybrid between a whale and a block of metal. It is in fact a land shark, or a boulette as they're called in this particular role-playing game, and its big jaws open wide. You see a bunch of kind of stony, like sharpened grinding teeth as it leaps towards you, and with your 6 dexterity save, it lands on top of you, knocking you prone. Launches into a bite. You take 14 bludgeoning damage, 14 slashing damage.
Oh, jeez.
And you are considered grappled. So you would need to escape from the land shark. The land shark is going to use some of the rest of its movement to begin dragging Owlin back the way it came, like towards the hole that it dug for itself. It does not have enough movement to like disappear, but it's just moving back towards the hole. It's going to try and drag Owlin down there. Don't worry about rolling initiative. Just take your actions when you take them, and like, you know, just do a round's worth of stuff.
I say Alan's definitely going to try to challenge the grapple.
Okay.
It's a land shark. It's that's the thing. That's the thing.
Not a catfish.
Ground fish.
Alan's gonna have a 25 on athletics.
25 on athletics. Owlin, you are able to kind of wriggle free of its grasp. Are you going to try and like stand up and leave, or are you going to try and hit it? If you try and leave, it would provoke an opportunity attack.
I don't know if I have an action left to hit it, but I'm gonna rage.
Okay. Alan, bonus action rages, so you're just going to stay kind of where you are.
Yeah, Alan's going to stay there, rage, and then it has to make a... Sorry, where's my Storm Herald thing?
Unfortunately, as a rock creature, it has an immunity to lightning damage.
Oh, dang. Well, a lightning bolt strikes it, and it does nothing.
It like flickers across the kind of metal carapace on the top of its head, and then kind of dissipates off to the side, the spark illuminating the otherwise dim tunnel very brightly. Who else would like to go?
Jeb is going to cast Hand of Coal, and the stony fist is going to erupt out of the ground, and in like get up in between Alan. It's just going to try to grab or smash into this thing's mouth, just like right onto its face.
Sure. So Alan, you're like laying on the ground. This thing is kind of latched on with just like its weight, almost like it's just that heavy, dragging you backwards. You're able to wriggle out from under its front paws. They slam into the stone. And then there's this massive eruption of rock, this as right next to your head, just a fist erupts out of the ground and slams almost like the little Pac-Man type shape, like just boom, snaps down on the boulette's jaw and tries to hold its mouth closed. I'll give you the grapple this round. So the boulette has been grappled and would need to escape in order to use its bite attack again in the future. Anybody else doing things?
Taking some damage.
Sure is.
It's going to take 4 bludgeoning damage.
Yeah, it is.
And it is restrained.
Okay.
Zop is gonna cast Toll of the Dead on it.
Okay.
So as he casts the spell, there's this like dong vibrating the air as it goes towards this creature. It needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
It fails. Not very good wisdom on a boulette. Not worth it rolling.
It is going to take 16 necrotic damage.
Dang. As this gong kind of resounds, you all feel it almost like hit the resonant frequency of the cave, and it almost like reverberates through the walls. You know, it dislodges little stones and stuff, pebbles kind of jumping up and down. Boom. And the creature, which has its jaw held shut, just kind of shudders as it takes this necrotic damage.
Fox isn't sure what to do against a creature of stone and metal, but assumes that a slashing weapon won't do much. So he just runs up and just starts kicking it with his prosthetic leg without the blade extended. Bludgeoning. And also grabs the broom at the same time to talk to it and says, I don't know if it's going to do anything, but I just want you to yell into this thing's head if you can even reach it.
Oh, I could do that. What should I yell? What should I yell? What should I yell?
Just random noises, scream, just
Psychically, only Fox and the boulette here. This broom is just
Not in
yelling.
my head too.
Oh, sorry. And it like cuts off in your head.
I'm gonna roll to do. I guess it would just be unarmed.
Yeah,
damage.
just an unarmed melee attack.
It's with advantage because he's restrained.
Yeah.
Would it do extra damage since it is a prosthetic leg and not a normal leg? So I'm not like holding back necessarily like you would normally.
I don't think it would.
So I don't injure myself.
I don't think it would do extra damage in that respect. I think it's still an unarmed strike. But I'll give you something better. I'll give you sneak attack with it because it's part of you. So you could argue that you're proficient with it as a weapon.
Oh yeah. Already. Don't worry. Sneak attack. So 17 plus at least 5. I'm gonna assume that hits.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it's just unarmored.
Please don't say no, DM. Please don't say no. Please don't say no.
Not this early in the
I
session.
have to do the math. Yeah. Unarmed is D4, I believe.
Yep.
3, 4, 3 plus 1 plus 4. Quick maths. 8. How many? I think I got so many. All right. Okay, so that's gonna be carry 6 plus 8
14
plus 3,
17.
so 14 damage, 17 damage, whatever you say.
Okay.
I know whatever you said.
That
Those
is
3 numbers added together.
Fox runs up and just kicks it as hard as he can with the prosthetic, and maybe you hit it like right where the metal gives way to the stone, so you hear this kind of resounding like cling, kind of echoing off of it. There's a lot of like reverberating metal noises here between the gong and the cling and the everything. The boulette for its part is going to roll to escape Owlin's grapple. Owlin, this is an opposed athletics check from you.
I mean,
Or I'm sorry, Jeb's.
Jeb's grab.
Jeb, this is an opposed
I'd say that's impressive.
athletics check from you.
All right, it needs to beat my spell save DC.
Oh, yeah,
which is
that's right.
17.
17. Unfortunately, it got a non-natural 20. So it does kind of wriggle free. Maybe it burrows through because it's a hand of stone. So it just like burrows through the stone to escape as the hand is reforming for the spell. And as it burrows, you actually see that as a group, you have drawn a little bit of blood from it. You know, a little bit of blood kind of splatters onto the wall, and it goes straight down, burrows into the ground, and like wriggles off into the distance. It does not remain to continue fighting you.
Well, just gotta be aware. Now we know what it looks like.
So Broom, do you think you did a good job?
That was all me, man. That was all me.
Hey, Fox, you did
Yeah.
good. And Jeb's going to hold up the hand for a high five.
Yeah. I high five the stone hand.
Just for the sense of scale,
Alan,
Wash,
are you
this is a
okay?
hand that's like as tall as Fox, right?
Yeah, it's like 6 feet tall. And
Fox
it's made
high
of
five's
stone.
a 6 foot hand. Great.
Yeah, just like the center of its palm, you know.
Perfect.
It's just like a quiet pat.
Pat.
Rad.
I'm okay. It always is somewhat disappointing when I
Yeah, let me help you up.
expend one of my rages like that, and then it's not needed. Thank you, Stonehand. That
Well, it looks like these creatures are just looking for something easy, so like easy prey.
yes, I'll now that I'm more aware of them, it'll be easier for me to avoid being grabbed like that.
I imagine they're probably distressed. I think those tremors that we felt on the way here when we were with Savage, remember they were going in a direction. I was thinking they were like a shockwave, but maybe these things are like being driven away from their home or their
perhaps.
habitat.
Like the ogres.
Yeah.
Yes, perhaps like the ogres.
Everything is seeking refuge.
I'm gonna go ahead, come up to Ellen. Soth, you've already used one of your spells, and you're probably a lot better at this. So let me try to take care of the smaller amount of damage here, and I'm gonna pull out the sacks and.
Oh.
And then
Okay,
I put out
alright.
a hand and touch. We gotta like, I don't know. You took a lot of damage from that, right? You got bitten there.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah, I thank you.
What does that like heal?
I'm rolling it. 5 plus a number that I have memorized. 5 plus. Yes.
I was just wondering if you wanted to share the number you had memorized.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. You know,
You have a lot of numbers memorized. You know, you got 1,
4.
2, 3,
I believe that's a 4. I
2.
believe that's a 4. So I believe that's a 9.
All right.
We need to keep this on the down low. These things, they can see through the ground. They can detect vibrations and they have very sensitive hearing. So we need to
Should we just stealth? Is what we're saying?
well, just mind your feet, just as quietly as possible.
I guess I'll roll I'll just nod my head instead of talking and roll stealth.
I mean, I guess if we're gonna do stuff that's loud, we might as well do it now. And Jeb's gonna cast mage armor on himself and kind of in that big shield. Like if we're gonna do stuff, we should probably do it now and then keep it.
I get what you're saying.
Quiet
Playing
going
the music
forward.
was a bad. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, like I said, we just be mindful of that when we're going forward.
You're right. Okay.
We don't know how many of these things are just sitting underground or. Oh, hold on. I hear another one.
Just standing perfectly still.
Same.
All right.
So you know how I said we needed to be quiet, and then when we heard it, I said really loud, "Hold on, there's another one." Let's not do that.
I guess I'll go up ahead, maybe do a little bit of scouting. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of hard to
just carry on as normal and try and avoid them when they appear.
All right. Fox will roll. The only other thing I think of is stealth, unless you want to think of anything else, to just lightly walk.
Does the broom
Not
fly?
particularly trying to hide, but just trying to lightly walk. No, the broom doesn't. It's just a talking broom, not a magic broom.
A careful pace.
Yeah. I got a 28 to
Great.
to walk tiptoedly.
Walk lightly. Yeah.
Carry a big broom.
Tread lightly and carry a big broom. Cinderella's stepsisters be like.
Is there a chance that Alan could roll nature or something to try to think if he's read anything about these creatures? And specifically, he's trying to think about do boulettes tend to, when they're burrowing underground, like cross paths with each other or interact with each other? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. That's a 19 on nature.
Boulette are solitary underdark creatures. For them to be up here, something must have driven them to higher altitudes. Wash's hypothesis or Jeb's hypothesis about the seismic activity, pretty good one. That's a good guess. You would agree with it based on your knowledge of them. They are, again, solitary creatures. For them to be in the same place as each other, either their food supply is drying up and they're getting desperate, or something is corralling them, where it's like, they're running from or to some place.
Okay. In that case, with the solitary thing, Alan is going to take out his tinkering, his artificer tools, and use magical tinkering to basically, one of the things he can do is make an object emit a nonverbal sound for essentially an indefinite amount of time. He's going to try to I don't know, he'll probably do it to some piece of his tinkering kit that he can easily just fit in a tool bag pouch, or a tool belt pouch, and make it emit a similar frequency to the sound of the rumbling of the bullets through the rock, if that makes sense. It may not sound exactly like it, but his goal is have a sound emitting from where they're at that makes it seem like, where they're going, there's already they're a boulette going through a certain path.
So basically, you're trying to make them think oh, this spot's taken. There's a boulette here. I don't want to go there. That's a
Yes,
great
correct.
idea. Roll an artificer tools check for me.
All right.
This will be the DC
That's
for
really
them
smart.
to disbelieve your illusion.
That's a 14. That's not as good. Not as good as I could have rolled.
Chronal shift.
Okay.
Really don't want to mess with these.
This time it's a 17, which is slightly better. I'm not rolling very well on my dice.
Okay.
17's pretty good.
Okay,
17.
great.
So yep,
17.
that is so now there's a low rumbling emitting from Alan's tool belt.
Great.
But he'll explain.
These things aren't very intelligent, so that's probably good enough.
My goal is to just make them want to leave us alone because they think that we are one of them essentially. So
That's so smart. I was thinking you were gonna like throw it down another path so it would like attract it, but yeah,
See,
that
that's what
makes
I
sense.
thought too.
Well,
I thought he was going to throw a decoy.
my memory of these creatures is that they are solitary, so they won't want to approach another one. That's part of why I was thinking hard, is because I couldn't quite remember whether them like hearing another one would actually like attract them, draw them to us. But yes, it should keep them away.
That is such a cool plan.
Interesting.
Alan, have an inspiration.
Woo!
Thank you.
That's why I don't mess with artificery. All right, I'm okay with feeling it out
And
with
playing
vibes
jazz.
and song.
Yeah. You just stick to your sneaky kicking.
yes, my very sneaky kicking.
Sneak kick.
It was a good kick. Your toe like drew blood, which was quite impressive.
That is impressive.
You know, I've been kind of like sharpening the prosthetic a little bit.
Just like in other places.
Yeah, just like along the toe, right?
Oh,
you know,
wow.
like it's that way. You know. Anyway, sorry.
Well,
Fox is gonna look for, I guess, any other signs of disturbances up ahead as we're walking.
Sure. Why don't you just roll a perception, like an overarching perception check?
Sure. Ooh. That's a below a 10. That's a 9.
That's a 9.
So,
But
we're probably fine.
You follow the cave network through a variety of twists and turns, bioluminescent fauna kind of giving you that greenish glow. So, Fox, you're not completely in the dark, but it is hard to, see what's ahead of you with it just being very dimly lit like this. They're imagine like just lighters being lit. It's about that much light coming off of each one, but they're like little
minute.
green glows. So it's not like a torch or anything.
Jeb,
Yeah.
wouldn't you be so much better at this?
Wouldn't I be better at what?
I'm trying to like make sure we don't run into anything, look ahead. You know, I'm just so used to doing it on the surface, and I forgot. Like, whenever we were in the Underdark, you could see so much better than I could.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I kind of forget that you can't see like the bend down there.
I didn't know there was a bend.
Yeah. Out of the distance, you
I
begin
mean,
to see a bend appearing.
I guess I'm just not as light on my feet.
Here, how about you can take the time to prepare spells and such. I'll just hold you on my back or something, on my shoulders.
That's what I was thinking, and I was afraid. Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, all right. I'll just. Yep.
Yeah, come on. There you
Yeah.
go.
All right, great.
There you go. Yeah, you just
All right.
here.
My claws better not smell like your armpits.
Oh no, this is perfect. This is a perfect idea. This is very very honorable position to be in.
This is what this is it's very on brand.
You know, that's fair.
You continue
Okay.
your journey through the caves, twisting, turning, wending, and whining. Jeb, would you like to roll a perception check?
I would love to roll a perception check. And I would also love to smell along with my perception.
That is one of your senses.
Man, I love using my nose.
So I have a racial feature that lets me roll with advantage on perception if I smell. So
Yeah.
I just rolled a regular dice and then a smell dice.
Okay.
My regular perception is, I think it's like 10.
Okay.
I'm gonna
But I got a
roll.
19 on my sniffer.
Nice.
I'm gonna give him a bardic inspiration with a little whistling tune. I would love to show you that, but Cleo is unable to whistle.
That's
I
okay.
have to imagine Fox whistling.
The
like,
dice step in where the players fall short. Go ahead, Wash, and add, if you want to, add that inspiration too.
So that's a 14 for seeing and a 23 for sniffing. And after the whistle, Jeb reaches down and puts his hand on Fox's mouth. Is like, remember, we're trying to be quiet.
Yeah, you could see Alan like trying to
Just
mouth
cringing.
like he's mouthing, bullets don't whistle. Bullets don't whistle.
Oh, sorry, I was just trying to.
Hashtag
deep
bullets
hum.
don't whistle.
Trying to help.
Okay, so now the group is being led by Jeb seated atop Fox. Fox kind of walking as lightly as he can, carrying Jeb. And Jeb mostly like nose to the sky almost, kind of like sniffing the air, looking around, doing your best to prepare yourselves. You generally, when you come to a fork in the path, you just take the one that's leading down, right? Because you're trying to get to Kavor. You assume that Kavor's lair is at the heart of this cave network. And
It smells more damp.
it's it reaches and passes lunchtime before the next time you encounter another creature. It seems like maybe the Bullets have made a lot of this area of the cave kind of impassable just with their behavior. However, Alan's invention works, and you do not encounter any more of them, which I just really am impressed with that thought, Alan. Good job.
Thank you.
The next time that you detect anything, Jeb, you smell it first, obviously. You can smell a change in the air. It smells like the air gets more stale. So obviously as you go deeper into caves, there's less recycling of the air. So that's natural. But mixed in with kind of the smell of stale air, you kind of detect a little bit of a temperature change that implies that you're headed towards another kind of big wide open space, more of a cavern where there's even a slight breeze. As the air kind of recycles with the warmer air at the top of it and the cooler air at the bottom, but it's just in place. So it still smells kind of musty and cavey. As you get a little bit closer, you also begin to hear like a soft, maybe like a growl or a purr or something like that. Just a little, something like that kind of, it echoing through. It's not like a rumble in the ground, right? This is a sound you're hearing. And Fox, you can hear it too once Jeb points it out to you. Just like a little bit of a growling, maybe a swish, some kind of, And lastly, Jeb, you can begin to smell like a little bit of dampness, like maybe this cavern has a little pool in it, and as you get closer, again, the drip, drip, drip of the tiniest trickle of water falling from the ceiling to the floor.
Does this sound like a cat?
Should I disable the low frequency hum now?
But it's soothing.
I agree, but I think we're past the Boulette lair.
Well, I think there may be some utility in throwing it ahead as a distraction. I think maybe stealth has worked with us so far. Maybe we try to go quiet.
Okay, I'm going to deactivate the sound.
And Alan will, something I thought of afterwards. Alan will take out, it's his replica of Makar's Tinker Toy. That's what he made the sound emit from.
Yeah.
He's gonna just tap the top of the head and the sound will stop.
Perfect.
Jeb, if you want to hold on real quick, I'll try to get up ahead. Maybe you can see something.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll a stealth check to try to stay to like the edge of the cave.
Yeah.
And just wait for a tap on my head from Jeb to let me know if he sees anything. 21.
21.
My
That's a pretty good
weakest
stealth
roll.
check. You're carrying someone, so I mean, you know, they can all be 30s. You stay as close to the wall as you can, and you and Jeb kind of very slowly walk your way down. The path ahead of you slopes downwards and then levels out into the cavern. So you kind of move towards the bottom of it, and you know, Fox probably crouches so that you don't have to show any more of yourself than you need to. The cavern is big, and you can tell that it's big because it's lined with more of those green bioluminescent fauna, but you can't see the middle of it. Like, especially Fox, it is pitch black in the middle just because the light doesn't reach far enough. Jeb, you can see a little bit more than Fox. You can see two glimmering amber eyes suspended in the middle of the cavern, and the sort of dark dark vision is darkness on darkness, so it's like black on black or black kind of a thing. You get sort of the general shape of a large cat of some kind, but it's not quite right. There is something hanging off of the chin, and there's also two things protruding from the back that might be folded wings, but it's really hard to tell with it in like a blobby state like this, where it's kind of curled up with itself and sitting, but it's looking right at you. Whatever this thing is definitely knows you're here and is waiting to see what you do.
Don't move. I'm like whispering this very quietly directly into Fox's ear. Don't move. It sees us and it's waiting. DM.
Yeah.
I have 120 feet of dark vision.
Yep.
Is there another exit in this cave?
There is. There is one singular exit on the other side of the cave. And also, as you look from the creature to the rest of the cave, you see a few things. You see some bones. Some of them are humanoid bones. Many of them are land shark bones. This thing seems to have mostly been living off of land sharks. You also see a small pile of what can only be described as bric-a-brac in one corner of the room, where like intentionally tucked away almost, but there's like a little pile of random junk, like a scabbard without a sword in it, and a spare set of clothing for a humanoid, and things like that. Maybe a belt with a gold buckle that's probably fake gold, like the gold is a varnish or a paint on top of something, things like that. Just a little pile of crap in one corner of the room. At the center of the room, near the cat, or whatever this creature is, this feline-looking thing, there is indeed a small pool of water with a little drip, drip, kind of just trickling from the ceiling down to it. Your eyes are drawn up to the ceiling and illuminated by the fauna. There are some stalactites hanging from the ceiling. So they're just little ice stalactites that are kind of melting over time, little drips falling onto the ground. This is not aboleth goo.
How far away? That other door on the other side?
600 feet. The cavern is really long. You can only see the door because it's got the fauna lined around it.
Did Jeb and Fox go ahead, or are we all like right there together?
They're ahead of you, but crouched down, so you can see them still. They're maybe 100 feet ahead of you, just crouched down, looking, out into this path. Slopes down. They're at the bottom of the slope. You're at the top of the slope.
Alan, they stopped.
Yes, I say let them do what they're doing. I don't want to provoke anything accidentally.
And Zoth telepathically is gonna say, "We still have this telepathic link. What do you guys see?"
There is a big cat directly in front of us. It looks dangerous. It's large. It can kill land sharks. And this room is very big. I don't think we could get... How far away is it from us, DM?
300
As
feet.
we're standing right
centered
now.
in the room.
300 feet. Okay.
Do you think maybe it would be time consuming, but you could dig us a tunnel to go around this cavern?
For you, yes. For Alan and Zoth, they're big. They're not going to be able to fit in something, like it's not going to be structurally sound the way that I burrow.
What if it's, just non-threat to us?
Oh no, it wants something.
It seems like a hunter.
It looks very territorial.
Can Alan see? Alan has like normal standard dark vision. Can Alan see the thing at all?
If Alan wants to go down there, he can see it. He can't from where he is.
Okay. Given context clues of what he's heard and how big this cavern seems to be, does Alan think it's a reasonable judgment to think that this is Kavor?
This is not Kavor.
No.
Okay.
One of you can roll a check to
is.
try and identify what this creature is if you want to.
Alan was just like thinking, like trying to rack his brain, just trying to make sure that this isn't Kavor.
No, Kavor is an ancient dragon. You can expect Kavor to be colossal. You know, whenever you do find Kavor, you'll know.
Gotcha.
What would I roll to identify potential?
What would you like to try? Persuade me.
I think nature would make a lot of sense.
I'll take nature. But Zoth isn't down there. I guess they're describing it to you, so that's fine.
Yeah, I got a 9.
So
You
it
are
looks
not
really,
sure.
like I can't see colors. It looks like a cat. It's got like these two things coming off its back.
I don't
Cats
know.
don't have that, but it's got
Do
the
you
big
think-
reflective eyes like a cat does.
Do
I
you
think
think
I
it can
know what
talk?
it is.
Can we reason with it or barter with it?
I'm gonna cast prestidigitation to create a light far away from us.
In our mind, Jeb says, "Oh no, I'm not gonna stop you. No, I'm gonna go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna cast.
I'm sure there's a vocal component to prestidigitation.
There is. I'm gonna whisper it. I'm gonna whisper it as a hum, right? Because y'all gave me a lot of schnuff.
No,
for,
you do what you doing.
Somebody like.
Roll a dexterity
And-
save.
You feel Jeb's thighs clench tightly around your neck.
You fool! Oh, that's
He may
a 27.
He may be very tightly ratatouilleing your hair right now.
In a single leap, the wings on the back of this creature flare out to the side, easily 3 times in wingspan what it has in length. This creature, which is about the size of a lion, leaps towards you, flaps once, and interrupts the casting of your spell as it knocks you to the ground prone.
300 feet?
300 feet. This creature flies into you, and as it knocks you down, you can see that there is some kind of amber liquid or goo kind of draining out of its mouth. Otherwise, it has all the appearance of a lion with wings. But there's some weird, almost like a disease or a rabies or a something, kind of like in its saliva. As it pins Fox to the ground, it gives another great roar, and it says, "You will not cast in my presence."
Does it say it in my mind or out
No,
loud?
like out loud.
Okay. Sorry. I was trying to make a light. But you know what? Your house, your rules. Can we talk?
Respect. And the creature sits back from you, and you say, "Your house, your rules." It, like, steps back a little bit from you, folds its wings in, and kind of takes a seat in front of you. It does not move back far enough that you feel like you could stand up without permission, but it's not pinning you with its claws anymore. You know what I mean? Jeb, where I assume he's kind of like toppled off of you, you know? Jeb, you're like 5 feet back.
Jeb has clenched his thighs as per canon.
I'm like
okay,
choking
good.
slightly.
Yeah. Owlin and Zoth, you saw them topple backwards and the front of a lion. So like just the head and shoulders, you know, as it leaps in, and then it takes a step backwards. So again, you cannot see the creature now. It
Did we
leans
hear
down.
it say that?
Oh yeah. It leans down
Okay.
near to Fox's face, and it says, "What would you do in my domain, intruder?"
To be fair, like I said, your house rules. We are looking for passage. We're trying to find Kavor, as the ogres up front like to call them, the big grout. But you might have been the big grout. And in fact, I think you are the big grout, which is an honor, I'm sure.
I do growl sometimes.
So we're just trying to make our way to Kavor.
So you met my subjects.
Just to be clear, who are your subjects? I'm not familiar with your domain, so apologize for my ignorance.
Well, this is a new domain, and you can see that it has a little bit of wounded pride as it admits that. There was a glade, and I was keeper of it, and a creature brave enough, strong enough to survive the climb to my glade, I would reward by driving wildebeest into the glade in the mornings for them to hunt. It sounds as though you met these bumbling creatures.
Yes,
Simpletons,
it's your subjects.
but stubborn, clinging to life, worthy of a place in my glade, and willing to give me tribute when necessary.
I actually helped them out. Well, I wouldn't say I did. So just put our cards on the table. There are two more of us up the ways.
Further up the tunnel here. I smell them.
One of them actually healed one of your subjects. They were poisoned or infected. So, yeah, we're not trying to cause any trouble in your domain. And it seems like you've made a great home. I'm not sure how long you've been here, and I know it sounds like you got relocated recently, but it sounds like you're doing a great job no matter where you end up.
As you very tactfully choose your words about relocated rather than like driven out, you can see that the creature is softening a little bit towards you. And it says, yes, I voluntarily and of my own volition chose a new domain for myself, as my glade was no longer suitable for a creature of my esteem.
I'm sure you need a challenge, of course, and freshen things up.
I challenged?
No. Something to give your subjects something to think about.
It was simply a matter of prestige. For living in my glade was such an honor that many creatures took to doing it. And they brought with them machines of metal, which I found unfit for a glade of such beauty. And so I abandoned them to their pursuits. And I came here.
I didn't mean to try to interpret your way of thinking. I clearly nowhere near that level. I can only imagine.
Obviously. Have you a tribute to pass through my domain?
We can definitely, if you mind, I might want to confer with my others here, and I'm sure we can come up with a tribute for you. Hopefully something that you might see as at least somewhat beneficial, or just, deserving of your presence. We'll try our best to meet that. It's a very high bar, I know.
Indeed it is. You cast another glance at the pile of just knickknacks and crap in the corner, and then you walk back up the tunnel to your friends. The creature, which I think we've still not technically identified, the creature sits down at the mouth of the cavern, and its tail just, kind of very focused on you as you walk back to the group.
I help Jeb up. Oh no, sit up awkwardly with Jeb still clenching around my neck. And I pat Jeb, and through the mental link, be like, Jeb, you good?
Guys, what happened? Mental telepathy.
Let's keep it as a mental link, just to be safe. I don't know how well this fine sir can hear, but I wouldn't want to accidentally say something that would offend him. And just to avoid that, we keep it as a mental link. Yes, very, very proud creature. I think.
Does it want ground fish?
I think no. I think if we give it a shiny, it might like it. And I really do mean shiny. I don't think it it knows the difference between.
I can give it a knife that I don't use.
Ooh, but is it gold? It would have to be a really awesome shiny.
I mean, you could buff it and make it look like shiny silver.
Alan's going to try to like walk further back in the passage so that he's like around a corner and the lion wouldn't be able to see him. Is that okay?
I mean, yeah, the lion's gonna know, but yeah, he can do that.
Sure. Okay, and then Alan's gonna get out Kelnor's pigment and start drawing with you know, a golden color, start drawing a shield on the wall.
That's cool. Okay.
And then detach it from the wall, and in the telepathic link say, I think I've got something. I think I just made something with the pigment. It's like a golden shield. Does that sound as though it would like it? It's obviously not truly gold, but it appears as such.
Try to keep it out of sight, but bring it so I can. I think we want to get a good look at it, make sure we're confident about this, because we risk offending him.
I tried making the designs look like somewhat intricate and interesting.
Okay. What? So is this just literally a rock painted to look like a shield?
Like it looks, I'm sure it
Nothing
looks
created by the
like
pigments can have a
shield.
value greater than 25 gold pieces. If you paint an object of greater value, the object looks authentic, but close inspection reveals it is made from paste, bone, or some other worthless material.
Yes.
So this one probably is stone, just because that's what's on the wall.
Yeah.
All right. How do we talk it up? Maybe
That's
we
your
say
job.
Okay. Yep. You're right.
This was you can tell the creature this was a shield passed down to me from my father, who was a mighty warrior.
Okay.
Just giving you all the tools in your arsenal. There are some skill checks that could make this process easier for you to, for example, you could roll insight to try and get some insight into what things this creature is inclined towards or away from, like, you know, stories that might soften it up. You could try rolling survival or nature to identify it and therefore learn about it as well, or what it might want. So just giving you those tools. You don't have to use them, just reminding you they're out there.
You said that there was like ambrosia saliva dripping down from its mouth.
Yeah, like amber colored saliva.
Amber. Can I do a medicine on that?
Sure.
See if that's of interest or note.
Yeah.
24
on me.
24. Medically speaking, that's pretty messed up. You haven't seen the symptoms look like this before, but it's got all the vibes of something that has consumed raw sacrium.
Oh.
And in your time in Dig Site 6, way long ago, when you were masquerading as employees and you were reading your little safety workbooks and whatever, one of the signs that an employee was falling prey to a raw sacrium addiction was that their movements were drastically sped up because one of the wild magic effects is the spell haste being cast on the user. So, which also kind of tracks with the idea that this thing moved 300 feet in basically a leap.
Guys, I think this creature might be addicted to sacrium.
Do we have a way to cure that?
I don't know if we've really ever
It
discovered
lets me
anything like
cast
that.
magic, baby.
Does it even want to be cured of it?
I don't think it probably
don't know.
knows.
Yeah, that's going to be a really touchy subject.
I'm just giving you guys like information that I have, but
That's good to know. We will have to think about what else it will need in tribute to let our whole party pass.
do we have any
once it comes
sacrium pouches?
time.
Maybe that'll entice it.
You do not have any raw sacrium pouches.
We may also want to entice it with sort of the idea. I'm not sure if this will work, but you know, obviously it is very prideful of a creature, or at least it seems that way. But we could maybe tell it a tribute could be us giving it an opportunity to hurt or kill the people that ruined
Relocated it.
the glade. Yeah, relocated him. Not sure if it's easy to phrase that in a way
I think
that it would.
I might be able to.
Start with the shield as a softening tool, and then go into the rest of the spiel.
Yes. Okay. Jeb, you probably don't want to be with me just in case.
This whole time, Jeb has kind of been like just a little stuffed baby Yoda doll on your shoulder. Like he's not even moving. He just has like two big fistfuls of hair, and his legs are. I mean, it's like as you're walking around and moving, he's just kind of like just not moving at all.
You might just in case something he takes it, something.
Don't worry,
wrong.
Fox. We won't let anything catastrophic happen to you.
I'm just saying, I don't think you want to be on my shoulders for this one, Jeb.
I think that I can't not be on your shoulders right now.
Okay.
You can be on my shoulders, Jeb.
No, it's not for lack of wanting.
Are you okay?
This is just life right now.
You know what? Sure thing. Here we go. And I take the
Are we all
shield.
going down, or are we waiting up here?
I think it's best if you guys wait here in case something bad happens. You'll have a chance to do something without it immediately pinning you to the ground.
Alan just is like smiling, nodding to nothing as he hands Fox the
all
shield.
of it telepathically, of course.
Yep, but mentally saying, yes, we'll do. We'll be ready to attack if necessary, but hoping that it will not come to that.
Maybe you could also offer the broom. That's a pretty interesting trinket.
I don't think it's gonna understand the value of that. I'm gonna walk down with the shield, very slowly and deliberately, almost as if though it's like a fanfare, a silent fanfare is going on, and I'm at the center of it. Of course, nothing is, but with that kind of march.
Okay. You walk very deliberately down the tunnel.
Right. As I approach, I do a little curtsy and then kneel down and present the shield forward to him. And I say out loud, "For you to be so merciful and kind to those ignorant of your domain, I present to you this shield, which has been passed down through one of our companions' generations. I believe it was his father's. And while it may not serve the best purpose as a shield anymore, its value is purely in its worth as the materials used in it and the sentimental value it holds for our companion. It is an honor for those in his family to give this as a gift to those they respect."
Alan nods soulfully.
The creature sits back on its hind legs and licks one of its paws and then reaches forward with its two front paws while it's still sitting on its haunches. It kind of takes the shield from you and holds it up. It's kind of looking at it in a different light. How'd that roll go?
Right. Sorry. 17.
17. We're cutting it close.
I know.
I don't want to use magic to rewind stuff in front of this thing.
The creature looks at the shield, and finally it turns around, and as it turns and its tail swishes right past your face, you notice that there are spikes on the tail, almost like armor spikes, that it could use to impale something or attack something. And it turns and leans very intentionally and gently, like it's holding an important object. It leans it against the wall, and it turns back to you. "I will accept this gift for my mercy in not slaying you for your ignorance of my domain. I eagerly await your tribute for passage." And it sits back down on its haunches.
Fox silently kicking himself for his verdict. So I do want to say, we have knowledge, and I'm not sure. I'm gonna roll insight, just whether or not I think knowledge might be anything. It might be worth the value to it.
Sure.
What's the name of the thing that
15?
desired secrets?
You mean the
not like
legendary
that.
creature you met?
Kyvan?
Kyvan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kyvan. See if it's on Kyvan's sort of wavelength.
Yeah, 15.
15. With a 15 insight, you get the sense that this creature has an inclination towards mastery and towards wealth. So it's all about its pride. And, you know, if you want to like soften him up emotionally, basically, you need to appeal to his pride and his, you know, his greatness, or you need to provide him like, you know, like show me the money. You can tell that
Sure.
he's only in this cave out of an obligation towards his self-preservation. And he has, because of his pride and his inclination towards wealth and mastery, he has established like a domain here. It's almost like playing house, where he's like, you know,
Right.
a noble in any country is still a noble kind of a thing. And he, much like the ogres, was likely driven away from his glade by the private security goons, or maybe something else like that. And maybe he's got knowledge about that too, which if you appeal to his pride, maybe you can soften him up. But as far as like, would he care about knowledge? Probably not. He's probably interested in like tangible goods or things that make him feel good, you know, like stroke his pride a little bit.
Like Sacrium.
I'm going to telepathically talk to Trevor, Zoth here. Zoth,
Yeah.
do you think you could cure the Sacrium addiction reliably?
Josh, can I roll, I guess, medicine to determine if like lesser or greater restoration or equivalent would work?
Greater
on that?
restoration would do it. Greater restoration says
Okay.
it would end a cursed attunement, which is what I would call an addiction. So
Let me see if I have that prepared real quick.
That's like getting philosophical.
yeah, that almost got a little
D&D.
deep.
An addiction is a cursed attunement.
Like an attunement you can't break willingly.
I do have it prepared.
Okay.
I could move, definitely end the Sacrium's effects. Whether it is.
Can you?
I
say
love that telepathically. I could probably definitely.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I don't know what will happen when this creature is cured of said effects. So, like, it could still be behaving this way, but
Okay, because maybe I can convince it in a roundabout way without ever accusing it of being an addiction, and tell the story about Circle.
go for it. I definitely can.
Circle, our dear friend, for those who don't remember,
R.I.P.
RIP, addicted to Sacrium.
Gone but never
The fire and knowledge.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take some time to have to come up with maybe something else. But in the meantime, I would at least like to entertain you, if you're willing.
I'm listening.
Well, as you know, we've healed your subjects. We try to help those we come across. And we found such an accursed tale back when we all first started together. You see, we are traveling not only to meet with this great ancient dragon for no reason, but because the world outside is changing and we don't think it's for the better. Before there was these grand fights or crazy stories, we met a friend of ours named Circle, and he seemed like a very nice and chill vibes. It's the best way to explain it, but something was clutching at him at his heart, and something that we couldn't tell right away, and I don't think he was quite aware of, but he had an addiction to this powder wrought from the ground that, while it gave him great abilities, was slowly eating away at him until it was something he couldn't notice until it was too late. And nothing against him. It's just how the curse works. Curses are great and mysterious things, of course, and we only saw it in passing, but we didn't get a chance to get to him before he succumbed to it, turning into a monstrosity and things around him as well. It does very cruel and horrific things to those who consume it and those around them. And you know, I just sometimes when you're fighting alongside avatars to bring gods back to this world, you got to remember the little things, right? Sorry, I meant to entertain you, and instead I gave you just a dumping of my own mind. I apologize. It's been a hard journey.
Roll something and convince me why you should get to roll it.
Okay. So I could see this either way, right? This could be me subtly trying to persuade him that he should seek help for his affliction, or I could see this as a deception to hide the fact that I think he has an affliction, and instead trying to pass it off as ignorance and just telling a very coincidental story.
What's your desired outcome?
I would like him to, I guess, be accepting of being cured of it.
Okay.
Self-aware.
Yeah.
The first step is admitting that you have a problem, Josh. He wants him to recognize
you want him to
the
admit that
first
he has a
step.
problem.
Which is maybe not gonna be
Even to himself.
verbatim, but as long as he's admitting that, like, oh, I might be willing to accept.
Roll persuasion with disadvantage.
Understandable. Whew. Here we go. Okay, that's a really first strong roll.
Okay.
Ah! That's a really bad second roll.
Jeb clutches, moves his hand from the hair. You feel the hair on the right side release and touches the Rod of Luck.
So not an outright spell.
Jeb
I'm
rolls
just going to try
stealth.
and. Okay.
I would not have made you roll stealth, except you were so clear about how still you've been this whole time that I think any movement's going to attract its eyes.
Could I make a case for sleight of hand?
Sure. Yeah, I'll accept sleight of hand.
Good, because it's only one more than my stealth.
Oh no.
For those of you listening, Wash just went on his office chair and spun far, far away from his microphone.
I can't tell if it's because he's celebrating or frustration.
I can't tell if it's his roll or if he saw the creature's roll.
Both.
Okay, so hear me out. I have a +1
Okay, so
to sleight of hand.
uh-huh.
But so technically my result is a 2.
Literally.
Treachery.
Worst case.
The creature roars, its wings snap out to the side, and Jeb makes a dexterity save to get to the Rod of Luck before he is pinned.
If this is an attack, Jeb will instead prefer to. Well, oh no, you're right.
Oh, we were doing so well.
I mean, were we? Sorry, that was a little Radford coming out.
I think we were.
I think we had a chance to cure this very prideful cat of its addiction
Well,
to
there's
sangria.
the good roll. 19 plus 2, 21.
Easily, you were able to get to the Rod of Luck and use it for whatever you were going to do, which I think had to do with the social encounter.
Yes, I was going to
Might be
cause
rude.
it to succeed.
So wait, that means it does succeed, right?
Yes, I think by the rules as written by me when I gave Wash the object, that even in this moment, this creature is coming to grips with its addiction. However, it also rolled a 23 to hit Jeb. Jeb, does that beat your AC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. I've got mage armor up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that plus
Do,
5?
do I get a reaction? Oh wait, no.
You would
even
have. Yeah.
even with that, it's not going to be it. No, he takes. No, that's it. Okay.
Okay. Jeb, you take 6 points of slashing damage and 1d6, which you can roll of fall damage, as the manticore flares out its wings and rears up on its hind legs to its full height and just bam, both paws like shoves you off of Fox and away from whatever you're doing. Fox, even as you're like, I wonder what to do now, it has leapt over you in a single bound and is crouching over Jeb with its jaws open at Jeb's throat, but has not closed them. It's not doing the
My
bite
leash.
attack. It just has him pinned. Jeb, you can smell death and decay from within its jaws. This is a creature that hunts for food all the time.
Can I smell sacrium on his breath?
Yes.
Smells like sacrium.
Yeah, he like pulls back a little bit. I've been trying to, I feel like I should quit really, but it's hard to just like stop. But enough of that.
It'll do that to you.
Wait.
Casting without permission in my domain. I
Sire.
forgive on behalf of the gift that was given for my mercy and will require another.
So, sire, I think we have a great boon to bestow upon you, and perhaps even enough for this small transgression and just for safe passage. With such a great boon, I would, mind you, I am humbly arguing this, and you of course take your own discretion.
You
that
intend a great value from a single boon.
Yes. And I think we can get rid of this addiction that you have post haste and before your eyes, before we even leave. But for this boon, I do think we do need this passage, and I would humbly request you forgive our transgressions.
Roll persuasion with disadvantage. You were not negotiating from a position of power.
No, I'm not. This is really just begging for mercy. Okay, I can work with that. You know what? All right, listen. I want to take you into my mind space, okay? Mind space. Now, traditionally, the roll I have rolled is not really a great one, but it's not a bad one, right? So that's not a great one. But I do have a large modifier, so I think it will be enough, potentially. But also, keep in mind, like, it's also luck, right? This is all about luck. We got the Rod of Luck. Rod of Luck may have caused us little issues, but I think this is its way of showing us a sign that this will work. And I rolled 7 twice on the D20. Now, mind you, I have a modifier of plus 15 for persuasion, which makes that a 27.
Oh, it's going to be real close.
22.
Yeah, it's going to be real close.
So I think that's its sign that we're gonna make it work. This is a gambling house where we gamble.
The creature strides back into the cave, spins around so it's seated facing Fox again, blocking the tunnel, and it says, I will accept this boon as payment for your transgression of the arcane and as permission of passage for the one who casts it.
Ooh. Okay. I'm gonna telepathically talk to Zoth. Zoth, is there a way for all of us to participate?
We need to hold hands.
Yeah.
We all hold hands.
in this casting.
It's a ritual. We draw a circle on the ground.
We can make this look like a ritual. It is a 5th level spell.
Can we ritual cast it?
No.
Okay, we will make it look like a ritual.
I will allow you to try and persuade, like, to deceive the creature into believing it's a ritual, but as Zoth is the one casting the spell, it will be his deception modifier that you are using. Like, he's the one who's got to throw it. The rest of you are just chanting or doing something magical looking.
Right.
I mean, I can actually cast a spell.
Alan is just like over by the cave entrance. I could just have, if you just give me more time, I could draw different trinkets for us all to give to the creature, like a sword and a necklace and some different things.
What spell can you cast?
I mean, anything that looks flashy.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just gonna cast prestidigitation. Obviously all telepathical, but like, yeah,
I could also just
to make it glow.
Cast polymorph and just turn into a T-Rex.
Why
and
do
bite
you
this
sit
Joker.
and stare at each other?
I'm thinking, sire, I'm trying to think how best to handle this.
Do you think, Fox, we need to do that spell?
We might have to do that spell.
I mean, this
Guys, I
Sacrium
think we
is
could
affecting
convince
such a creature of this magnitude. We might have to do that spell.
Maybe when we finish the spell, it'll be so impressed with it that it'll just let us all go anyway.
I think we need to do that spell. I
agree.
to tell the others that this spell will have to be done. It's the only way.
I will come help with that spell.
But what about the cost?
Are we talking out loud right now?
We are
Yeah.
talking
Is that
about
okay? Yeah. Great.
I know the cost is great, but if it's the price that he asks of us, I'm not sure if we have a choice.
It is
Must be done.
It is kind of poetic that this spell that we prepared specifically for Circle's would be used on another. Perhaps Circle's death will not be in vain and go towards helping this magnificent creature.
I agree.
It must be done.
Must be done for the greater good.
Telepathically, Alan's gonna go, I don't know, I'll just cast fairy fire when we do it. We'll
Yeah,
be
make
lit
him
up.
glow.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
let us do it.
So telepathically, I'm like, out loud, I'm like, Zoth, come on down. We must prepare for this.
Let's go. Alan.
Alan, do you need to prepare any ritual components for this ritual, or do you have them already?
Yes, Alan will just produce some of his artificer tools, like tinkering gadgets and stuff. Yes, I have my components. I will prepare my portion.
Okay.
Here, Jeb and Fox, take the sink and draw the symbols, the rune symbols on the ground.
Now, if you don't
Yes,
mind,
and-
sire, we're gonna have to draw this around you, and you must be at its center.
Well, we can draw it here, and then when he is ready, he can enter at his own time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. That's true. You're right. My apologies. Let's go ahead and make sure it's large enough for him to fit. I know we're used to being such small and weak creatures. We're used to drawing smaller things, so we need to make sure it's something he can fit into.
Zothkug, I will prepare you.
And Zoth will pull out his holy symbol and begin praying.
All right.
And I will cast Eagle's Splendor upon him to give him a advantage on his deception check.
Okay.
As
The
Fox finishes. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like the preparations are made and we're ready to cast the spell and roll the deception. Is that right?
Correct.
Well, Fox is gonna after finishing drawing the circle, gonna cast prestidigitation Here, let me lend you my power. And Zoth will now slightly glow. Praying.
And then the glow will transfer. Yes.
Yes.
And then Alan's gonna start like flipping through the lenses on his artificer's goggles and being like, yes, almost there. Yes, okay, I am ready.
So Zoth will hold out the holy symbol. If you will enter the circle.
Roll your deception. You can roll normally because you got advantage and I gave you disadvantage.
Okay. A modest 15.
No. Roll low.
It's a 16 on the die. Charlatans. Do you
still
take me
cast it.
for a simpleton? What is this dance
Observe.
you do?
You are healed.
I
It's
am
exactly
not. He
as
hasn't
you
stepped into
show.
the circle yet.
Well, the spell's still cast. Well, I guess
You are casting your magic upon this one.
I haven't cast it yet.
Ystire, let me.
He steps
Explain
into the circle. Cast your spell. He's looking right at Zoth.
Yep. And then I will cast Greater Restoration.
And Alan will cast Fairy Fire on him, so he's outlined in pink light.
The amber kind of like drips from his mouth clear, and he steps between Zothkug and the rest of the party, and he says, "Thank you. You may proceed." And then he turns back to the rest of the party, sits down, and blocks the pathway.
So, you got to understand, for us to do this and for Zoth to do this, it may seem like little trinkets and dancing to you.
I have seen through your ruse. Do better or best me in combat.
All right. Well, let's see if
Okay.
what we can't find that is precious to us to offer to you.
When you
And
say
I-
best you in combat, do you mean to the death, or do we just kind of like fisticuffs a little bit and like, you know, whoever gets the first couple good blows, we're like, hey, you won. No hard feelings.
Do I strike you as a creature known for his restraint?
Understood.
His tail kind of flicking back and forth.
Alan, I speak to you telepathically, and I say out loud differently, right? I say out loud, Alan, we might have to give up what little we were going to bring to convince the dragon.
Hey guys. Oh, here we go. Hey guys. Speaking telepathically. We need to get our entire crew and machinery down here.
Ooh.
So out loud, yes, I just need to find our supplies from our larger pack further down the tunnel. Hold on. And then telepathically, yeah, that's why I was hoping to convince him that like some sort of vindication against the sky people would be something that he would want,
right.
that we could offer.
Let's see if I can't offer that real quick.
Or we could kill him and it won't be a problem.
Sir, one thing that isn't necessarily material, but you might value greatly, is I'm sure when you relocated those people who brought machinery and made it so you valued relocating as more of a prevalent option. I'm sure you have your disagreements with them. And as it turns out, so do we. And I know we are not part of your domain, and it would be rude of us to take your fight upon ours. But since we already have our own problems with them, we were planning on ridding them of this area entirely. If that's something that might be to your liking.
You would drive out their eagles of iron?
That is our hope, though. It will be
I
a
want one
great
of those.
battle.
Did you say that out loud, Jeb?
No. Well, I said it out loud. He probably did. He probably like looked off reminiscently and just was like, man,
His
I
head
really
snaps off of Fox and onto Jeb with the hyper focus of the hunter. You would keep one as a pet.
I would keep one to hunt the others with. They're very quick.
Ah, you would turn their machines against them. And you can see he likes this idea very much.
How best to humiliate a foe, but with their own weaponry.
Indeed. Weaponry so cowardly they would not even come down to the ground to meet me in battle. So I met them in the sky. He's like lost in a little prideful revelry for a second, and then he like reverie, and then he kind of turns back. You make an intriguing offer. By what token can I be assured of your capabilities?
I can show capabilities.
Would you like to take center stage here?
I mean, I know that you're a man who doesn't, or a creature who doesn't show any restraint, but maybe just a testing of capabilities, because surely I wouldn't want to destroy you and, you know, remove you from this magnificent domain. And surely if I was capable, you wouldn't want me dead.
You seek to demonstrate power.
Oh, and demonstrate I can. And Jeb stands up, all
Very
2.5 shins.
Yeah. You're like up to like, you know, halfway up its foreleg, like you haven't even made it to its elbow, you know. It looks down at you and it says, "Very well. A test will be arranged. Follow me." And he leads you out to about a third into the cavern. You're far enough in that you're not lit by any of the bioluminescent glow. And then the creature strides over to the pool of water and it says, "Defend yourself." And it roars and it slams its feet into the pool, which goes up to its shoulders. You realize that it's much deeper than you thought at first glance, and the whole ground begins tremoring. And you hear the approach of 2 land sharks on either side of you, getting ready to fly out of the ground. There's a third one that goes towards the creature, and we can assume without bogging up time with that combat that it deals with it effectively. Jeb, it's your move.
Jeb takes the old blunderbuss, flips it around, points it to the side of his head like he's gonna shoot himself, just in the side of the head, and just boom, shoots himself. His body flies to the side into a big puff of smoke, rolls, and out of it, boom, a big T-Rex erupts.
Yeah. Get him.
Rex.
What is the CR of a T-Rex?
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, just by comparison of challenge ratings, we can assume that this fight is fairly simple for you. So just describe the destruction.
Well, as he like pops out of this big ball of smoke, he just comes down with a chomp on the one, and just like crushes it, and throws it back behind him. The other one, I want to say it's a little less elegant. He's got his tail behind him, and he's just like playing whack-a-mole with the thing. He's just like, bam, 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 bam. And then finally just like smashes it a whole bunch.
That's
and
hilarious.
Then he claps his little hands.
Yeah, his little T-Rex hands. Do you end the spell at the end of this combat, or are you staying a T-Rex?
I don't think he has the intelligence. Well, no, we already determined he does have the intelligence to end it if he wants.
Yeah.
Yes, but not before letting out like a ear-splitting roar in this cavern.
Yeah.
Just to really sell this signal and to shake things loose, literally.
Sure. Yeah, a bunch of the stalactites give way from the ceiling. These, ice crystals just all across the floor. And then Jeb returns 2 shins tall, tipping his hat,
he
whatever
dusts his hands off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
The manticore has this big grin on its face as it looks towards you. Its tail swishes eagerly. Yes, yes. This is a form fit even to fight within the chasm. Surely you know of the chasm. I will allow this as passage. And the manticore walks towards you and says, you will drive these horrors and their machinations from my glade.
That is our quest.
And in order to accomplish this quest, we will need to have our allies allowed passage through this cavern in tomorrow's time as well.
Make persuasion at disadvantage. This is a real stretch here.
including the ogres, which are your subjects. All right, I'm trying to let me find out what is Alan's persuasion, anyways. Oh boy, at disadvantage.
Yeah.
13. That's above a 10 for a disadvantage.
No. Come on, roll a 1. No.
I can't see what it is.
It's a 12
Oh.
plus 1 is a 13. And the attacker wins in a tie.
Oh, you're kidding me.
So the creature looks at you, holds your gaze long enough for you to be like, ah, no, like I effed up. And then it just nods once and turns and kind of like pads off on its paws towards its new shield, which it sits, takes over to its pile of garbage and sits it on there. And then it sits back to watch you leave. Good luck in the chasm, travelers. And it like nods to you. It doesn't bow. It's the master of this domain. Obviously, it's not going to bow to you.
I would
but
never,
it dips its head a little bit.
Telepathically, Zoth is going to say, did we get its name?
Sire, if you don't mind me asking, so that way we may spread your word of your domain as a fearsome but just ruler. How should we call you?
My name is Ravi.
Ravi.
Yes.
An honor and a pleasure.
Holy.
And we leave before we shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yep.
Great. You stroll across the chasm, and there is one cave between you and Kavor, but it is 10. Do you want to play out the last creature in this cavern, or do you want to call this session over and we'll pick up there next week?
I think we can.
I can play it out
there next week. Oh, okay.
Are we on time?
I can do either way.
Either way?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Right now, we're at like our normal ending time. It's 10
No, I meant
Eastern. Oh.
Time-wise for...
Yeah. You're good either way.
All right.
I think we quit while we're ahead here.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
For this
That's
session.
a great way to phrase that.
Sure.
My dice have... I'm pushing my luck, okay?
They're starting to dry out.
That's fair.
And on that note, tonight's Dungeons and Dragons session comes to a close. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Thanks to our new followers, even the ones of you who were bots. You still pushed our numbers up for the night, so that's cool. And I need to add the quote to the quote bot before we leave that my dice are drying out. Jake. Okay. And on that note, our Dungeons and Dragons session comes to a close. Trevor, what do we tell the people?
We tell the people to grab your big brooms and start walking.
That's
GGs
right.
and GN.
GGs and GN.
And don't forget,